So what I'd like to do is, because both of you have kind of your own stories of how you started the journey with what we call international team members. So we shortened it for ITM. We used to call our team remote team members, but then so many people started being remote, especially during COVID. We're like, hey, remote team members are everywhere here in the U.S., but we were specifically talking about our international team members. But would like to hear, Pete, your story into how you transitioned out of the property management business and into this staffing company. What was that journey like?
Yeah, when I ran my PM firm, we were around 1,000 single family homes. We were in 3 markets. We were all in Texas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth. And what was happening with us, we were growing rapidly. And as we would grow, for us to be profitable, we had to almost stress the team out. So it was this seesaw. And what we found was every time a good person was ready to leave us because they were so stressed out, we would hire somebody and then profit margin would just dip. And then we'd have to stress the team out. Now we make profit. Now we're happy, right? The owners are happy, but everybody else isn't. Then we hire somebody else and we dip right back down. So around 2015, I found, hey, if we hire remote team members back then, or ITMs, I can hire somebody at I could hire 2.5 people for 1 person in the United States. That's what it was back in 2015. I was hiring people from Mexico. Made sense for us because same time zone, and we're in Houston where a lot of people speak Spanish. And what we found is once we hired these folks, and as people would leave us or I had poor performers, I'd replace them with 3 people. And what we found was once you have more people, you can get more tasks done, because for property management, tasks are like water, right? They just keep coming and they don't stop. And to help preserve my property managers and my good performing people in the States, it was imperative that I hired some people on the back end. When we were done with the training and getting all the team members siloed, we were departmental at the time. Once I got them kind of owning their own process, we basically had about 90% of all property management tasks were done by our remote staff or our international team members. What this did is this did a few things for my business. The first thing was it reduced churn, because Deb, I just see Deb right here. She just said tasks are like water. What happened with us is our churn rate went down. So I don't know if Evernest has seen this, but as you grow, a lot of times you're growing and you just can't service the customer, and it becomes front end, back end. And so we had a leaky bucket is what we called it. And so once we actually had the people in place, we were able to reduce the leaky bucket because we were able to get all the tasking done really quickly. The second thing that it did is it allowed me to actually increase salaries across the board because we were becoming more profitable. So my US team actually benefited from this. And at first they were pretty resistant because they thought they were going to lose their job. And I was able to actually pay people more, and we were actually able to give better benefits. And then my property managers did not have to work 90-hour weeks. They went and worked these things called 40-hour weeks. They didn't have to work nights every night. They didn't have to work weekends. They were able to give better customer service. When you are running what I call it a reactionary business, what happens is, what's the first thing to go is communication. You might be doing some things, but your communication is poor. And then what happens is your owner client is calling you. And even if you have the answers, as soon as they pick up the phone and call you, they feel like they're managing you. They're managing the property through you, and that you're not being proactive in managing the property. So because we became proactive, we got more properties from owners. What we realized was some of our owners only gave us 1 home, but they had 2 other homes, right? That they would find somebody else. They ended up giving us those homes. But the other big thing was we were called Empire Property Management and Realty Services. No one realized that we did realty services. So we were not getting the buys and sales of properties. Once my property managers were not doing the $4 or $5 or $10 hour tasks, they were building those relationships. Now we were buying and selling more properties. If you buy a property for your owner client, you have more trust with them. And so if you do mess up on the onboarding, it doesn't really hurt. When somebody else buys that property for them, and then we tell them that the rent's only $2,000 when their agent told them it was $2,500, now we're the bad guys. And so it reduced a lot of that friction. It increased our revenue. Overall, our salary requirements went down from about 56% of our revenue down to about 34% of our revenue. The salary stayed about the same, but it spread over more people. But because our churn rate went down and our revenue went up, the percentage of our payroll went down dramatically. And $1 saved is $1 earned, right? If I increase and I make $1 and I'm running on a 20% profit margin, I only make 20 cents. But if I save $1, I make $1.